Aujourd'hui, nous allons à la rencontre d'un homme à la voix extraordinaire, Tom Jones. En 40 ans, un trajet étonnant l'a mené de sa vallée natale du Pays de Galles jusqu'à Las Vegas et plus loin encore.
The old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to meet me is my mama and papa. Down the road I look and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass on home. The old house is still standing, though the paint is cracked and dry. And there's that old oak tree that I used to play on. Down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. Yes.
Can we begin at the beginning? What was it like being brought up in Pontypridd?
It was great, because Pontypridd is not really a city, but it's not a village either, so it's sort of in between. A lot of hills around there, so it's great for kids.
Green grass of home.
It was a traditional working class background. Your father worked in the coal mines. Yes. And what do you think you got out of that particular part of your background, say up to you're about 14 or 15? What do you think you carry with you still?
Values. I think that's where you get your values from when you're growing up, no matter where it is. You know, I think it stays with you for the rest of your life. So with me, it was my father was a coal miner, but he always worked. So we would never, you know, we always had food on the table and clothes on our back, and we had our own house. I didn't really want to leave, you know, it wasn't a place that I wanted to get out of. It was just that I knew that if I wanted to become a professional singer, that I would have to go to London.
But does the Welsh business, the business of being Welsh, has it mattered to you throughout your life?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he always said about Wales, especially, that, you know, I go back there for a reality check. So if we get an argument, it's usually because of too late at night and too much drinking. It's always, the threat was always, I'm going to Wales, that's it. You know, no matter where we'd been, I think we were one night we were in somewhere in Argentina. He said, what time's the next fucking plane out? I've got to go back to Wales.
Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Yes. Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Well, I don't want to leave you lonely, but you got to make me change my mind.
Do you think that you've got an idea of work from being brought up in that sort of background, that your idea about work was fashioned then by your parents, by that place, by that time?
Yeah. Work to me is doing something that you don't really like. You know, that you do in order to make money, to survive. So that's work. But I think if you do something that you really love, it's like a hobby.
Give me just one reason why I should stay. I told you that I love you, and there ain't no more to say. No, 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 no.
You started performing very young, as I understand it, very young indeed. How did that come about?
Well, in South Wales, most people sing. And all my cousins sang. Anytime we'd have a party or any kind of get-together, we would be asked to sing. Because they always say, well, we all sing, you know. You know, we can all sing.
Not just him.
Exactly. Which they can, you know. It's not, you know, he's not the only one. So then they would ask, was there any difference, you know, what was the difference? And my one cousin, she said, well, the difference between, you know, when Tommy got up to sing as opposed to when we did, he had to get on the table. You know, I needed to, I had to.
Must have been quite a tolerant mother to let you stand on the table.
Well, you know, that was it. And I would get it, apparently, my mother says, I can slightly remember it, but when I was very small, I would get up into the window, because that's where the curtains were, you know, the drapes. So that was the only sort of thing that looked like a stage with curtains. So I would get up there and pull the curtains, and I'd say to my mother, when she would be cleaning the house, you know, introduce me. And she'd say, to who? You know, to whom? I mean, there's nobody here. I'm busy, I'm cleaning the house. I said, Mom, you've got to introduce me. So she'd say, okay, because Tommy Woodward, my last name is Woodward. So she'd say, ladies and gentlemen, and now here he is, Tommy Woodward. And I, you know, pull the curtains back and jump out onto the floor and start singing, you know. But that was it. I mean, I always wanted, it was there right from as far back as I can remember.
But around, I don't know, 12 or 13 is when you start sort of picking, isn't it? You think, I really like that stuff rather than that stuff. You become a sort of buff, don't you? What did you sort of start to move towards at that age?
Right, well, it was, I think even a little bit before that, singers like Frankie Lane. You know, singers that had...
All day I faced the barren waste.
Yeah, without the taste of water. Exactly.
All day I faced the barren waste without the taste of water.
Cool water. Oh, Dad and I, with throats burnt dry and souls that cry for water.
His idea of music is broader than just about any other pop stars. He will perform in and love a number of styles.
Why did you trade heaven just for these earthly things? Why did you lose your little...
Can you remember when you first developed an interest in black American music?
Baby, why'd you drop your wings?
Big Bill Brunsey was somebody you listened to and admired, so it went very deep, though.
Listening to the radio, it just appealed to me. It was real. You know, when Big Bill Brunsey sang. And I've always been very interested in lyrics. They're important to me, as much as the melody, really. So the blues, I liked what I was hearing, and I liked the way that it was portrayed.
Flat, broke, and busted. You know, it don't seem fair. The man in heaven don't hear my prayer. These dice are loaded, but I still can win. Flat, broke, and busted, crapped out again. Maybe tomorrow I'll see the light, then I'll know the difference between wrong and right. My ship is out there, but it can't come in. Flat, broke, and busted, crapped out again. I'm hanging on tight to the end of my rope. Somebody call me a preacher. Oh, Lord. Why don't we just call the Pope?
You were ill, you got TB, and that knocked you out for a year, 18 months.
Yeah, two years altogether.
Yeah. I think, remarkably, for the time, your mother managed to keep you at home. How did she manage that? Because normally you'd have gone to a sanatorium, wouldn't you?
Right. Well, my mother said, look, this boy has never been away from home. You know what I mean? We had a close family here. And I don't think he would get well there because he wouldn't be relaxed enough.
Yeah.
Up to the authorities said if he can be isolated in his own room and keep the window open, that'll be fine.
Was this a very frustrating time for you, or do you think you got something? What did you? It must have been frustrating for a young lad to be cooped up in a room. Yeah, obviously. So, did it change you in some ways? This sort of forced retreat?
Yeah, because I couldn't sing as much as I wanted to, because it was taxing.
Yeah.
You know, they said you shouldn't do anything physical.
Looking back on it, I mean, I've talked to quite a few people who had childhood illnesses which they survived and then they've thrived afterwards. And they've thought that this period of, they've often said that, well, that did a lot for me. It was awful at the time, very frustrating or very painful, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I got a lot out of it when I look back. Do you think, again, do you think you got a lot out of that?
Yeah, I learned to appreciate life. You know, the appreciation for just walking down the street, because I couldn't do it. So I would look out the window, or I could stand on the front door sometimes when I was getting a little stronger, and I would see the kids going up the mountain to play, you know, up the hills. And I thought, my God, if I could just go up there, or if I could just walk to the end of the street.
Yeah.
So I thought, when I get out of bed, when I'll be able to walk again, I will never complain about anything again as long as I live.
Then I awake and look around me at 4 gray walls that surround me. And then I realize, yes, I was only dreaming. For you see, there's a God, and there is a sad old padre. Arm in arm we'll walk at daybreak. Then I will touch the green, green grass of home. Yes, they'll all come to see me in the shade of that old tree as they lay me in the green, green grass of home. Is everything all right so far? Okay, just checking. Now then, we're going to be doing all kinds of songs for you tonight. We're going to be doing some new songs, some old songs, some love songs. Love is like candy on a shelf. You want to taste and help yourself. The sweetest things are there for you. Help yourself, take a few. That's what I want you to do. We're always told repeatedly the very best in life is free. So if you want to prove it's true, baby, I'm telling you, this is what you should do. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms. Just say the word and they are yours. Just help yourself to the love in my heart. Your smile has opened up the door.
I left school at 15
Yeah.
and got married when I was 16.
And the marriage has endured to this day.
Yeah.
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 So what did that do for you, again, being a married man at such a young age?
And then let's really start to live.
It gave me strength and responsibility. But it was part, again, of that. I loved my father, and I loved the way he lived, because he was strong, and there was a very manly thing about it. So, to me, getting married was manly. You know, it gave me strength.
When you left school, had you already the ambition that somehow or other you were going to be a singer?
Yes. My friends used to say, you're going to be a star. And I said, yeah. You know, I thought that's what was going to happen.
Did you have a band at the time? Were you still singing socially among, or had it developed and had it gone to another stage?
Started to sing in the local club, the Wood Road Club, because it's on the Wood Road. So Wood Road Non-Political Club, which all my family went to. The chairman there, somebody didn't show up, and he said, if you want to get your guitar and sing a few songs, I'll give you £1. So that was 1957. So I ran home, which was just up the street, came back with my guitar, and sang about 5 or 6 songs, and he gave me £1. So I thought, well, and everybody loved it. So that's what gave me the idea then of going around working men's clubs.
Were they hard to play, these working men's clubs?
Not really, no, because if you could sing, and you had to prove that on the first song, then you were fine.
But if you're not very good, then you can have a guy reading a South Wales Echo with his feet up on the stage and saying impress me, and every now and again he may lift his head over the paper. But that's what makes people become better entertainers, I think. I think they make you entertain.
So that's what I did.
What was your first song?
They liked big ballads when I was growing up in Wales. So you'd have to sing a song like I Believe.
This is a song I used to sing when I was back in South Wales. I used to work in the workmen's clubs. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
And then when I got him, unawares, I'd hit him with great balls of fire, I mean.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
And then what seems to me happened is somebody came to the audience and said, I'm going to make him a star.
That's right.
And did.
Yep. Yeah, Gordon Mills. He was the man I was waiting for. By that time, I had my own group.
Which was called?
The Senators.
I wanna know, I gotta know, baby, I gotta know, I gotta know, baby, I gotta know, I gotta know, I gotta know, I gotta know.
And I got into that band because their singer didn't show up on a Friday night. But Friday in Pontypridd is boys' night out. It's the drinking night. So the bass player, who was a friend of mine, came to seek me out. He knew I was going to be in one of the pubs in Pontypridd, and he found me and he said, would you come to the YMCA? Could you come up and sing a few songs, because our singer hasn't shown? I said, the YMCA on a Friday night?
What I say, what I say, tell me what I say, what I say, what I say, tell me what I say, baby, what I say, tell me what I say, honey, what I say, tell me what I say, what I say, tell me what I say, oh, now tell me one more time, one more time, 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 one more time.
So that's what I was with when Gordon Mills finally saw me.
Mills decided that you were going to be a great singer and went off to London with you to get your contract,
Yep.
just like that.
Yep.
And he wrote your first massive hit, which you still sing. It's not unusual.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. When I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you sit down now, wanna be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you find it happens all the time.
I did it as a demo for Sandy Shaw, because Gordon and Les Reed had been commissioned to write a song for Sandy Shaw. So they asked me would I do the demo, and I said sure.
Yeah.
When they played it back to me, I said, I have to have this song. So Gordon said, it's a pop song. You're more of a, rhythm and blues singer, big ballad singer, big, ballsy singer, if you like. And he said, this is not that kind of song. I said, I don't care what you call it. This sounds like a hit, and I have to have it. And if I don't have it, I'm going back to Wales. That's how strong I felt about this thing.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I knew this song was a hit. I could smell it.
happened very, very fast, didn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a movie, wasn't it?
Yep.
Like the movies they made in those days.
Exactly.
You woke up to find yourself a star.
Yeah.
You were considered to be a bit risque.
Now all I want you to do is stand in one spot.
It was a thing that was coming naturally to me.
And then I want you to... Well, I'll show you what I want you to do. I want you to wiggle it around.
And I was getting attention, you know, from the female side of it. I mean, but men loved the way I sang and still sing, but women saw more than that.
I think he grew up quick as well. That's the other thing. Coming from a working class background, you know, a 15-year-old boy in Wales at that time was a man. You know, you had to be a man, really. So when he, you know, being, say he was 23, 24, next to Mick Jagger, he was a different kind of 23, 24-year-old.
Now I want a woman. I need a little woman. Oh, a big, tall, sexy woman. Any kind of woman. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Jones.
In a very short time, you had this extraordinary thing of a television show on both sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So you're getting bigger in America and bigger in Britain, and you'd had this string of serious hits.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pussycat, pussycat, I've got flowers and lots of hours to spend with you. So go and bother your cute little pussycat, no. Pussycat, pussycat, I love you.
How did you cope with that sort of impact of fame?
You and your pussycat knows.
Well, I think, you know, once you... The first hit record, you see, when you get your first hit record, that's when the big change happens. You know, that is a bit mind-boggling. And I crashed a car on Park Lane. I bought a Jaguar, which was my first car that I'd ever owned. An S-type Jaguar, red.
What else?
So I came out of the Cromwellian one night and, you know, too much to drink. I thought, I could... And I'm driving up Park Lane and I tried to make a turn and I realized I was going too fast. So I smashed into this barrier. I mean, the car was and I cut my head. I had 14 stitches over here. So my mother and father were staying with us. And the following day when I woke up, my mother was staring at me over the bed. You know, I looked up like this, like my head was, you know, with the stitches. And my mother said, "Who the hell do you think you are?" I said, "Mom, my head is killing me, you know, please." She said, "Look, let me put you straight." You know, and she laid the law down to me.
What'd she say?
Oh, she said, you know, and I heard there was girls in the car. You know, you're a married man with them. You know what I mean? What is all this? And I said, no, they were with other people. I was just driving them home. And I was trying to, you know. There's a pride thing as well, you see. I never wanted to let my parents down. So that sort of, I think that was a lesson that I learned, that I was running a little too fast.
Sometimes it's bad, or when the going gets tough, and we look in the mirror, and we want to give up. Sometimes we don't even want to try. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes we cry. Well, we're gonna have to sit down and think it through. If we're only human, what smile. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes we cry.
Were you frightened that you would change? Because that's the thing that working class people dread. They keep saying, reassuring their friends, I haven't changed. And the biggest compliment you ever get is, he hasn't changed.
Right. No, I didn't think it would change me.
Yeah.
Because I was happy with myself. You know, I wasn't. I think when people change, when they become famous or they become successful, I think that they were like that before, but they couldn't show it.
Yeah.
You know, they couldn't get away with it because somebody would give you a slap.
But some of it was fairly mind-turning stuff. I mean, Elvis Presley is on record several times quoted, written, that he admired you enormously. You were one of the very few singers, I don't know whether he said about any other contemporary actually, but that he, but your voice, he used to ring up radio stations requesting that they play your records, which must have taken put the DJs in a state of shock, that he did. What did you make of him?
Well, I mean, when I first met him, he was Elvis Presley. You know, I mean,
couldn't get.
No, it was Elvis. You know, I mean, so because I was a teenager in the 50s.
I will spend my whole life through,
and Elvis was the king of rock and roll,
loving you.
So anybody that wanted to become a singer, Elvis was the one.
You had to swallow Presley.
Yeah, so then I was in 1965 meeting this man, and he was asking to meet me, and he's walking towards me, and I had my third single out then, With These Hands.
With these hands, I will cling to you.
And he was singing it. I thought, this is like a dream here. Elvis Presley is walking towards me, you know, singing, with his hands, I will cling, you know, and he was giving it all that. And I thought, this is like a bloody dream, this.
Then I'm walking in Memphis. I was walking with my feet 10 feet off of Bill, walking in Memphis. Well, do you really feel the way I feel? Saw the ghost of Elvis down on Union Avenue. I followed him up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now security, they did not see him. They just hovered around his tomb. But there's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle room. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet over Bill, walking in Memphis. Do you really feel the way I
And I remember him telling us the first time he met Elvis, and Elvis said, where are you from? He said, you sound like a black man. He said, Pontypridd, there's many black men there. He said, no, there's no black man in Ponty unless you come up with Pitt.
It was Las Vegas where Elvis then came to see him on a regular basis, starting in the late 60s. But then Elvis was coming so often, whenever he did come, it would be an all-night thing. So it became so routine, it would be like, oh, fuck, it's Elvis again, you know, which is...
And he knows what it's like to be an epic star. Because when you're big in the States, you are really big. When you play Las Vegas and you make a lot of money, you make a ton of money.
Las Vegas!
What attracted you to Las Vegas? You became a bit of a fixture there, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was the fact that that's where Frank Sinatra sang and Elvis Presley. The big singers in America were in Vegas. The problem with it is people then think, oh, he's become a Vegas performer. You know, he's gone Vegas.
What did that mean, do you think? Because that was a time when the sex symbol thing became even stronger, didn't it? And women throwing their knickers on the stage. It became a very strong part of your image.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by the strength of the women's reactions about this, this hysteria, this throwing of their underwear, all that sort of thing? Did the extent of it surprise you?
Not really.
Did you play to it just a bit, or?
Oh yeah, of course. You know, if something works, I mean, if it works, don't try to fix it. You have to get on with it.
Did it worry you at any stage later on that was getting in the way of your reputation as a singer?
Only when I would read reviews. They would sometimes review the audience as opposed to what I was doing. You know, the hysteria, all that room keys and underwear, and the band struck up. And Tom Jones came on, and the women started screaming. Later on, he took his jacket off. And then sometimes they would never mention my voice.
Baby, take off your coat real slow. Baby, take off your shoes. I'll help you take off your shoes. Baby, take off your dress. Yes, yes, yes. You can leave your hat on. You can leave your hat on. You can leave your hat on. Go over there, turn on the lights. All the lights. Come back here, stand on that chair. Woo, baby, that's right. Now put your arms in the air. Now shake 'em. You give me reason to live. You give me reason to live. You give me reason to live. You give me reason to live.
That I thought my strong point was my voice, and my showmanship. But not to be taken as just as that, just as a showman, to try and get the ladies at it. That wasn't it was part of it, but it wasn't the main part of it.
Leave your hat on. Leave your hat on, baby. Reload consists of 17 different duets with some younger singers and some younger bands.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Oh, baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
hoping that you drop
so
in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands. They're just like
My mother
ice.
will start to worry.
Beautiful. What's your
My
hurry?
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace
So
roar.
really, I'd better scurry.
Oh, beautiful. Please don't hurry.
Maybe just a half
Why
a drink
don't you
more.
put some records on while I pour?
Your album Reload has been the most colossal success. How did it come about that you did this with other artists? Did you feel that you were having to stretch in different areas?
Well, you have to work with the singers.
Yeah.
I was always aware that there is another person that I'm singing with, that I'm not by myself. So, but the people that we asked to be on the album, I felt I could sing with.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have to change. I wouldn't have to sort of compromise.
antifreeze, isn't it?
I think Tom Jones is cool because, I mean, for me, he always has been cool anyway, but it was basically the record company who had this great idea of putting like cool people together with Tom, you know, like cool producers and hip people from today. And it's hopefully because of my and other people's work that Tom is cool. And plus, you know, you have this thing like in fashion as well, where like trends keep repeating itself, and probably it's Tom Jones' time again, you know, so.
Now don't get me wrong, ain't gonna do you no harm. No. This bomb's for loving and you can shoot it far. I'm your main target, come and help me ignite. Love struggle holding you tight. Hold me tight, dog.
Many people will say, oh, I've got enough money, which he could easily do. Or could say, oh, I'm not interested in what's new in music. But instead, he comes out with the Reload album and sings in a new style and has this massive European hit with Sex Bomb with Moose T.
Can we do Sex Bomb again? Can we do it again? Yeah!
I know it's been big in England, #3 in Germany, #1 in Spain, and #1 in France. I mean, top 3, I think, in almost every country in Europe.
Sex bomb, you're a sex bomb, and you can give it to me when I need to come along. Sex bomb, you're a sex bomb, and baby, you can turn me on.
We changed it from, because when they wrote it, I supposed to have sang, I'm a sex bomb, and I can turn you on. And my daughter-in-law, Donna, she said, do you really want to say that? You know, wouldn't it be, do you think it'd be better if, you know, the shoe was on the other foot, if you said, you know, you're a sex bomb and you can turn me on? She said, I think it would be more appealing, you know, to women.
Sex bomb, you're a sex bomb, and baby, you can turn me on. And baby, you can turn me on. And baby, you can turn me on. And baby, you can turn me on.
How did your wife cope with all this feminine hysteria that went on and goes on? Because it must be difficult for somebody to see their husband sort of belonging to everybody, mustn't it? Well,
Yeah, and she doesn't come to shows because of that. You know, I mean, she's proud of me and she's proud of my success, but you know, she's shy. She's not a show business wife. She doesn't want to go to show business parties. She doesn't like crowds. You know, so that's been difficult for her. That's the difficult part of it. It's the lifestyle that she's not, she doesn't feel part of.
Well, they're intense when they're together. So she's coped with it really well. I mean, the only thing I will say that is a gauge is that when they're together and I say that's it, I'm off. It's like when I was 10 years old again. It's the same as it was then. Yeah.
I mean, your wife is obviously a remarkable, unusual woman, but your son is too. He became your manager, your son, which,
yes.
After the death of Gordon Mills, did he bring a different, well, he's a different person, so what did he bring that was different?
Being more modern, Mark made me aware of this. You know, you're a great singer, and you can sing modern music, so let's concentrate on recording it. You know, let's concentrate on your talent. Let's get rid of that image that people have of you, which I wasn't really aware of. But Mark made me aware of it. And my daughter-in-law, Donna, Mark's wife, who was my publicist.
The celebrity was overtaking his ability to shine as a musician and a singer. And that personality, it was in danger of becoming a caricature of itself. There are still writers today who say Tom Jones with the sprayed-on trousers. Now, he has not worn trousers like that for 20 years.
If you talk about knicker throwing and tight pants, if he was a Chippendale, it wouldn't be so bad. But the truth is, obviously now that he's older even, is that he's a great singer. And it was to try and, there wasn't, the only change I thought needed to be made was that the emphasis goes more on on the, you know, the God-given ability that he's got.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all these crazy questions they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, 'cause I don't want to see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. She said, that ain't no way to have fun.
You say about comebacks, you know, I could say, you know, you get, you know, an award for comeback of the year. You say, well, what comeback? I never fucking went away.
You do a colossal amount of live performances. I think last year you did 250.
Mm-hmm.
Quite extraordinary number.
Mm.
What drives you to do so many, first of all?
Because I'm asked to. I would have to turn a lot of work down if I wanted to work less.
Mm.
And I don't want to. You know, I mean, my wife says to me, because when I first started and I was doing a lot of, you know, a lot of shows, maybe the same amount that I'm doing now. And my wife, after a while, said, do you have to do all these shows every year? Why so many? And I said, well, because, you know, make hay while the sun shines. When I get older, I'll slow down. So, you know, about 10 years ago, I think she said, when is this slowing down thing going to kick in? And I said, to be honest with you, I don't think it will.
The stamina on him is incredible. I think he does pace himself very well, though. He paces himself drinking, which I learned after collapsing on him a few times. And he paces himself throughout the day and sleeping. And I've never seen a man that drinks so much water.
It is extraordinary. You still sing numbers like Green, Green Grass of Home and Delilah, and it's not unusual. You've sung those for nearly 40 years now.
Yeah.
How do you keep them fresh, coming at them again?
The audience does that.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to do something that the audience wants you to do, and
so you get the applause before you sing.
Yeah. Soon as Delilah sings, bam, 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 bam. Soon as it starts off, you get applause.
I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window. I saw the flickering shadows of love on her blind. She was my woman. As she deceived me, I watched and went out of my mind. Delilah. All together now. Why, Delilah? I can see that girl was no good for me, but I was lost like a slave that no man could see. That breaking day when that man drove away, I was waiting. I crossed the street to her house. She opened the door. She stood there laughing. I felt the knife in my hand and she laughed no more. My, Delilah. Come on in. Why, Delilah? So before I may come, break down the door. Forgive me, Delilah, I just could not take anymore. Forgive me, Delilah, I just could not take anymore.
Is there any sort of music that you enjoy singing more than any other? I mean, anywhere where you say, look, when it comes down to it, this is where my musical soul is?
Not really. It's as long as I can sing it the way I want to sing it. I need to express myself through them, and so as long as I can do that, it could be, you know, it could be a standard, or it could be a rock tune, or a country tune.
I think he's just so appreciative of the gift he's got for singing, and he wakes up every day and he's thankful that it's still there, you know, and I don't think he'd do anything to risk losing that. So that's why I think he gets his sleep in on his water, but he makes up for the night with his beer and his champagne.
I mean, here you are at 60, you're having perhaps what could be one of the biggest successes of your career, and you've had successes throughout. Have you any answer to the question, why has your career continued at such a high level for so long?
I think my vocal ability and the love of it, you know, the passion, is still as strong now as it ever was. I haven't lost the passion for it. And I think some singers do. You know, they lose that fire. It's...
You just want to get out there and sing?
Yeah, I have to do it. In fact, I have to stop myself from singing if I go to a club. You know, it's...
Will that man please stop singing?
Exactly. You know, I've got to stop. I've got to stop myself because they ask me to get up, you see. And if the band is good, you know, if they got a good rhythm section there, I get up. And then when I'm up there, you know, I don't want to get off, and it's.
Then the curtains open and you jump up the windowsill.
Yeah.
You're singing in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Oh, oh, go, go, oh, go, whoa, 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 go, whoa, 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 go, whoa, go, whoa, 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 whoa. All right, come on, baby, tell me one more time.